Hi, Harika.
నమస్తే మాస్టర్. నిర్మల మాస్టర్.
నమస్తే.
ఇవాళ హరిక లేదు. నేను చేస్తున్నాను.
ఓకే.
యాహ్!
అంటే నాకు ఏ సౌండ్ వినపడకపోతే నాకు
నేను లైవ్ స్ట్రీమ్ ఆన్ చేస్తుండే.
ఓకే.
సార్ ఒక 5, 10 మినిట్స్‌లో జాయిన్ అవుతారంట. అప్పటి వరకి విల్ మెడిటేట్.
ఓకే.
విల్ సిట్ ఇన్ మెడిటేషన్ మాస్టర్స్. క్లాస్ప్ యువర్ హ్యాండ్స్. క్రాస్ యువర్ ఫీట్. క్లోజ్ యువర్ ఐస్. And observe your beautiful, naturally flowing breath. Let us calm ourselves down. And go within. Let us not worry about any external situations, conditions. Just be here, be now with your breath. Let us dwell in this moment, not in the past, not in the future. This very moment is very precious. Being in this moment will let your prana shakti flow into you freely, and it will reach every cell of your body. Let us now connect to our beloved Guru, Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji, and request him come and sit in meditation with us. feel His beautiful presence being with you. Let us pay gratitude to Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji, while being in his consciousness. Let us commence our session. Get back to your physical body awareness. Unclasp your hands. Rub your palms against each other and gently place them over your eyes. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A beautiful smile. Open your eyes. Welcome, Jay Prasad sir. Please let me speak a few words about you. So, Jay Prasad sir is a software engineering from Dallas, and he's working for the city government of Fort Worth, Texas. He's into meditation since 2009. His meditation practice helped him to be peaceful and to be in the present moment. He's always willing to share his beautiful knowledge with everyone and learn as well. Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time and coming on to this beautiful platform of PSSM. Stage is all yours.
Good evening or good morning, based on where you're at. So it's so nice to come back in touch with, the PSSM. I've been away for a while, just got busy with my own life. So good to be back on the platform again. So welcome everyone to the class. So today's topic is soul science, but then we will touch upon many other topics as well, because there are many things that are related to soul. But in fact, you call it as soul science, but then soul is beyond the science. Soul actually cannot be measured by any of the measurement devices that we have available right now in the industry. So it goes back beyond all of this science or the medicine or whatever you call it as. So you heard this word called soul, or you call it as divinity or divine, your soul, your self. All of these things refer to the same thing, the soul, divinity, divine, yourself. all of these things refer to something that is deeply within, which is our God self that is already within. So, and there is another term called spirit, that also refers to this thing called the soul. So when you talk about soul, people usually think that the soul is like very outside of us, somewhere, like a golden angel, or maybe somewhere a bigger God who is very outside of you. But then soul is not that grand, actually. So soul is very simple. Soul is the essence of all of your lifetimes that is boiled down to a common denominator, and that is your soul. So it consists of all of the experiences that you ever had in any of your lifetimes so far, and that is your soul. It's it's not grand, it's not bigger than the human, I would say, but it has the capability to manifest itself as a human in this world. You see, um, so many of the New Age groups, say that spiritual groups, you call them as spiritual groups, or New Age groups, don't talk about soul. They're about just making your life a little better. How can you live a little better? That's what they talk about. You take any of the branded New Age groups. I don't want to name them, but they have courses that talk about, how to make your life little better. But spirituality is not just about making your life a little better, because once you evolve in spirituality, your life will automatically get better. But spirituality is about your journey towards your self, towards your soul. You know, so our elders say that, realize yourself. So what is the meaning of that? Realize yourself means what? Any any answers from the audience? Realize yourself means what? So realize yourself means realize your own self. So what is self? So I thought about you. About you. See, the thing is about you, about me, I know about myself because I know what my characteristics are. I know how I behave in different situations. So what else is there for me to know?
Your origin.
Yes. So labels could differ: spirit, origin, soul, whatever it is. But there is another part of us. There is another part of us that's already within you, that's already here on this planet with you. That is yourself. It's already here. For realizing yourself, for realizing your divinity, you don't have to go elsewhere, somewhere else. No. You don't have to go and merge into something to realize divinity. No. The divine is coming here onto this planet to be with you. That is the science of the soul. I would call it as the science of the soul because the soul is coming here. You're not going to the soul because the soul is already here on this planet. Every human is manufactured with the soul essence in them. Now, the point is realizing the soul essence is the ultimate realization in spirituality. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's the ultimate realization for any human. Once you realize yourself, that becomes your last lifetime, and that's it. That would be the end of your lifetimes on this planet. So you have this beautiful journey of, in other words, spirituality itself is a journey towards self, towards realizing yourself. So in this journey of spirituality, you encounter a lot of different experiences, a lot of different people, some are like in different stages within spirituality. But spirituality, being spiritual, is one of the aspects of realizing yourself. Sorry?
Sorry, sir. Might be someone is unmute.
Okay. But spirituality itself, your meditation itself, is not the only way to realizing your soul. There are many other ways. Religion could be one, but spirituality, your meditation is one of the fastest ways that you can realize yourself. It's one of the tools, actually. So, all right. So we have talked about realizing the soul, but what does it really mean? What does it mean? Realizing the soul means what? When do you realize the soul? Do you realize the soul being in the physical body or after you leave the physical body?
Being here in this body, that's why.
Yeah, in the olden days, masters used to leave the planet once they realized themselves, because the soul is so potent that, once they realize their self, their soul, once it gets into the human body and you're done, they used to leave the planet. But now the potential is such that, you can still realize yourself and stay in the body, physical body, for a few more years on this planet before you leave the planet. So realizing the soul itself is also called as enlightenment, the ascension. See, there are many labels to it. You call it as enlightenment or ascension, conscious spiritual awakening. All of these things refer to the realization of the self. So when you realize yourself, you also realize the truth. So, because you must have heard this thing called, realize the truth, right? What is truth? What is the truth? You look at Ramana Maharshi's books or other books or whatever it is, they say, realize the truth. What is the truth?
As per my understanding, truth is that there is only one source and we all originated from there. And that is what we are taking this journey to reach there. So
let me ask you one question from your answer. So when you realize this, the self being in this body, how do we realize that you have originated from the source?
So as per my understanding, the source, we are limiting ourselves. These are all knowledge which I gained through sessions and books. So we would realize that we are not limited, we are limitless. And we are not the drama which is going on, like if what we have come here to do, the family and all, these are not the real existence, but this is what we have created for us. And diverting myself with
Yeah,
topics.
that's all right, man. That's all right. See, there is no right or wrong answer here. See, the thing is, the truth, the original truth for the human is that we and our divinity are always together. So when you realize the truth, you realize that you are with your divinity, that you are with your soul. So that's what you realize, so realization. So what does it mean by you are with your divinity, or you are born with your divinity, you are realizing your divinity? What does it mean? So realize what happens when the realization of your soul happens here on this planet. So, as we discussed, the soul realization happens here on earth, not when you leave the physical body. That's a different aspect. The soul realization, or the enlightenment or ascension, whatever you call it as, it happens here on this planet. So, what happens when a person gets realized? Okay, before we talk about that, I want to make a very bold and candid statement here. There are many, many branded masters on this planet who are not enlightened, but branded as enlightened, because in reality, enlightened masters don't brand themselves and gather masses. Sorry to say this, they don't. Because enlightenment does not need the feeding of energy. It is as simple as that. Enlightenment or realizing the self is about you coming into your simplicity. It doesn't need energy feeding. You don't need energy feeding at that point, and therefore they don't gather masses. A real enlightened master does not gather masses, period. Okay, that's out of the way now. Now let's talk about what happens when the realization happens. You must have heard a lot of stories of realization on
Yes.
YouTube, Osho, blah, 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 etc. What is it?
So, what are the theories that what we have learned, or I have learned in my knowledge? I can say that we realize that we are not different from anyone or anything, and that's like we become one with everything. We'll start being in the oneness and accept everything as it is. That could be one point. Right now, I'm not recollecting, but this is what the ultimate, right? We realize that we are one with everything. I mean, as per me, that's not the ultimate.
Okay, so let me ask you a question from that, ma'am. When you say we are one with everything,
Mhm.
what does it mean?
That the conscious, what I have is same is within you too.
But
The
how do I know what consciousness the other person has?
what consciousness other person has.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what they have. How can I say that what you have is what I have?
So you have the same prana, which is I
That's
have
right,
and you
but
have.
how can I say that the other person? That's a theory. That's fine.
Uh-huh.
Theoretically you can say that,
Uh-huh.
but practically, when the realization happens, how do you realize that?
I am not enlightened yet, sir. So I don't know.
No, no, no. I'm just saying, from your
Uh,
from your That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So basically, in enlightenment, you don't, for a period of time, you can experience the cosmic consciousness, but that's only a part of it. That's before your final realization. That's what happens. The cosmic consciousness, which is like one with everything kind of experience. But then enlightenment is different. Actually, the ultimate, what happens is different from that one with everything. Of course, that's what is written in books and other stuff. No, it's beyond that. It's much more than that. That's only a small experience that happens in enlightenment. Enlightenment, soul realization, again, these are all labels. When it happens, what happens is, but let's first define what it is. The soul realization means what? Means a human realizing their soul. But how do they realize? If it comes in front of you, like in movies, you see the soul, descending from up above, you realize the soul. Do you realize the soul that way? How do you realize the soul?
Self-awareness.
But means what?
Like knowing about ourselves.
But how do we know about ourselves?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, like it's with the mind. When you're associated with the spiritual enlightenment, the self-awareness, there's a kind of inner peace we feel within us.
Inner peace you'll feel within you, that's for sure, but not in the mind.
Sometimes there
Because-
could be a contradiction with what we think. There might be something else we will be listening instead of what we are thinking, or as an answer or as a question.
Sorry, ma'am, say that again, please.
So we, in a particular situation, I might be thinking one way, but there would be another voice that contradicts my thought process or gives another answer.
Okay, so two things here. In what you said, the other voice, yes, that's what you realize, but then you don't think anymore in enlightenment, because in enlightenment, you will lose your grip on your mind, so you cannot think.
Mm.
But you come into the awareness of something else, which is your inner voice, you said, right? Your other part, your other self. You come into that. But okay, let me tell you how it happens. Enlightenment or the soul realization is the process of integration of the human and the divine together into one, thereby becoming the true body of consciousness. That's what it is. It's the integration of the human and the divine, integration of the human and the soul into one. The soul has this something called light body, which is Telugulo Kanti Sariram antaru, the light body and the human body just merging together into one. So when that happens, there are so many physical changes that happens to the human, and then mental changes as well. You go beyond the grips of your mind in enlightenment. And then, as you said, ma'am, the inner voice wakes up. So you will literally feel the inner voice. So when you're talking, it's as if that somebody else is talking through you. You cannot, in the moment of realization, the first thing that happens is that you will have no thoughts at all whatsoever, none, for a period of time. And then there are a series of mergings that happen between the human and the divine. In a period of time, it takes a period of time. It doesn't happen just in one day. Let me tell you one more thing. If somebody is sitting on the rock and just being there for a while, that's not enlightenment, and then the tears flowing through your eyes, and then end of the day you're enlightened. No, that's not how enlightenment happens. That is just some sort of a realization, but enlightenment is truly the integration of all of your aspects, integration of everything that you have experienced in all of your lifetimes, now coming into the existence within the human. So, the problem with enlightenment is that, of course, your life gets little better, lot better, in other words. You get intuition and so many other things. But the problem is you don't want that person near you. That's the thing. You don't want an enlightened master in your home, but you want them somewhere outside so that you can go and come back. Why is that?
I didn't get you, sir.
Okay, let me ask you one question. Do you keep an enlightened master in your home? Say, for example, your best friend
Uh-huh.
is enlightened. Okay. Do you live with them?
Why not?
Try it out if you ever get a chance in your life.
So you're saying the characteristics will change in them?
It's everything changes. Meaning the energy changes, because see, the reason why I'm saying this is when the soul and the human merges together, the human inherits the qualities of the divine or the soul, and the soul inherits the qualities of the human.
Mm.
Because the soul is so innocent, it has never been on earth before. Of course, in the human form, yes, but by itself, it has never experienced life here. So when the human and the soul merges together, because of this innocence of the soul and the human inheriting those qualities, the human becomes innocent. They become childlike.
Oh, okay.
So,
This happens when we realize.
oh yeah, absolutely, yes. Because the soul wants to experience the human life through you, live. You see, it wants to experience everything that you are experiencing. It wants to taste everything that you're tasting. It wants to, say, for example, you're paying the bills. It wants to know how you're paying your bills, how your debt is being cleared, how you're eating food, how you're walking, how you're working. All these things it wants to experience being with
So,
you live.
so I don't know. I'm just saying my experience could be something else.
Mhm.
Sometimes any small thing, like opening a book also feels like a special thing. I don't know what is that. Sometimes being outside, just looking at certain things also feel like, wow, this is new. I have experienced this. I don't know what it is termed as,
Mhm.
but I have experienced these. What are these? These are just my mind playing, or there's something I'm really staying there and experiencing certain things.
You know, at this point in the human evolution, there is a lot of soul energy that's being coming onto the planet, into human, meaning as we speak, you are evolving. As we speak, your body is becoming the body of consciousness. So as part of that, your soul energy comes into you. So you and your soul could be perceiving some of it, some aspect of it. It could be your soul and you together experiencing that, the book or whatever the nature or whatever it is.
Yeah, but slight things also feels like something new and so pleasant. We can't even explain. Like, how can the small things give you certain different kind of feeling, pleasure or
Right.
something?
Right, because it's the simplicity,
Mm.
your spiritual evolution is about you coming into your simplicity.
Yeah.
Right? Simplicity is not grand. Simplicity is like being very simple. Just being, how would I say? You don't even, at that point, whether it is a grand thing or a simple thing doesn't matter. Everything is same, kind of.
Hmm.
You see? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the experience I felt many a times, but I don't know what is that called.
Yeah.
And I have a question. I don't know if I will be deviating a
Sure.
topic or not.
Mm-hmm.
So once or maybe a few times I got this experience where I sit in meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and this happened few years ago. I usually focus here most of the time
Mhm.
rather than my breath. So I suddenly, there was a transparent layer. I felt like there was a transparent layer. From here, I was pulled there,
Mm-hmm.
completely pulled. I felt like I came out of this body and I
Mhm.
went to that place.
Mhm.
Felt like I'm there, and the visions start showing in front of me,
Mhm.
where I saw like lot of dots going
Uh,
this way, traversing this way.
Lot of what, ma'am? Lot of?
Dots, white
Oh,
dots or
dots,
white
dots.
lines,
Okay.
something.
Right, right.
So that's the
Mhm.
vision. First vision, I felt like I'm there. I was not in my body. I was pulled into that from here.
Mhm.
Something pulled so strong that I went there into that.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know how to explain. There's an invisible layer. I just pulled out from there.
Right.
I saw these dots. Then out of that dots, the Krishna, right?
Mhm.
Krishna was formed. His figure was formed with those dots. Then a
Mhm.
big wheel was shown with those same dots. Then, zup, I came back. So this
Mhm.
happened twice or thrice. Then this kept pulling me. I got scared. I did not go. I felt like I'm leaving my body or something is happening to me. What is that experience, sir?
It could be you are from the spiritual family of Krishna. It could be that's your lineage, spiritual lineage. Or it could be that you worshipped him in some of your past lives or even in this life. It could have been that image stayed there. But most likely, if you are not into Krishna in this lifetime, it could have been that you are from that lineage, and then they're watching you to see how you're doing here. Maybe they just want at some point, of course, you let go of your spiritual family anyway, but then you're somehow connected to that lineage. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question on the enlightenment.
Uh-huh.
Is enlightenment a state that can be permanently achieved, or is it a continuous process?
Enlightenment starts on one day, ma'am. Like what Jesus Christ said. Uh, you just change in the blink of an eye. So it starts on one day, but it is it's a gradual process also, because it is not a destination. Means, oh, you say that this person is enlightened, branded. No. You can choose to be enlightened at that point, but then the point here is, once enlightenment starts, you start integrating all of your soul energy into your body, and you will become enlightened. Means your light essence comes into you. In other words, you merge into the light body. So it's a gradual process. It keeps, I mean, you keep getting enlightenment, after enlightenment.
How to find out, sir? How to find out the enlightened person in front of us?
It is almost highly impossible to find out a truly enlightened person. You can find a branded enlightened person, but not a truly enlightened person. It is almost highly impossible to find. But I can tell you one thing. You feel at peace being in their presence. They don't talk much.
Okay. And talk much, but they may give any questions, advice, or something like that.
Sorry, ma'am. What is
If I
that?
ask any question, and they can give us any questions about the soul and all. If you ask, can able to give any advices for us?
Most
enlightened person.
most likely they will say something that they don't give you an answer that you want to hear.
Mm.
So they'll give you an answer that they from their wisdom.
That also we can able to understand. We also, the asking person also would be in that stage maybe. Otherwise, you can't able to understand it. Our Atmasthiti also should be there to find out. And whatever they say, that we can able to understand. In the stage we are not there, we cannot able to understand what they're telling us.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true, Andy. So you have to be in that state.
Yes, that's what I'm
to
telling.
understand. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think there
Yeah,
are a couple of-
Padma Garu.
Hmm.
Yeah, Padma Garu, you want to ask?
Namaste, sir.
No, sir.
Namaste, Master. When you were saying that, how do you know that? How do you separate yourself from soul? How do you? I was thinking, sir, about the soul is like when we lose our identity, when we find ourselves in a zero state, like that zero state, we feel like we are nowhere, anywhere. That state, if we keep continuing like 24/7 or whenever the moment comes into the present life, if we apply that kind of like no identity, no self, I am one at the same, whatever the reactions, whatever the surroundings are around you, if you think that other side, if you are in there and watch from other side, so there we find the soul. That's what I feel, sir. Like, like I don't know if I'm you want me to elaborate, or are you able to understand, sir? That's what I'm feeling. It is very, 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 very hard. Every situation comes that invokes our emotions for every second. By controlling that, knowing that no, they are the same. We all one at the same. The other part of my body is doing the same thing. How can I react? That's what the soul identity we can find, like only when we lose ourselves. There is in the Mirdad book, when you stop, there is no Nenu, there is no yourself, then you will find everything. That's what we can find the soul, but it is very hard. It's a big process. That's what I feel, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for asking that question. So, two things that I understood from what you said is, one is identity, losing identity, and then realizing. when enlightenment happens, you lose your identity. In other words, I will go so far as to say that you die.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit difficult to hear, but you will die as a human that you have lived your life thus far. So literally, because your DNA changes. In enlightenment, the DNA changes. So that means your original characteristics and everything. So a lot of those things gets transformed, and then your identity that you have built in your life thus far. You could be a grand person in the society. You could be whoever it is. That identity now comes in balance with your spiritual identity, with the identity of your spirit. So you will no longer be a normal human after you are enlightened. So your identity will be lost as a human. That will be the final day, the last day that you experience your identity as a normal human, the day before the enlightenment. So after the enlightenment, you will start experiencing life differently. You will start experiencing physical body differently. So there are a lot of things that happens, so with that comes the loss of identity. But what you're saying is from the book that if you keep that way, your enlightenment happens. No, that realization comes when enlightenment happens. But maybe you can practice it that way, just keeping your soul and all that, you can still practice it. And maybe that's a good step to start with. But technically, the identity will be lost in enlightenment once you start realizing yourself. But before you get to enlightenment, it's not a big deal. See, a lot of people, a lot of these books and gurus and spiritual organizations, they keep enlightenment at a distance. They say that it's only possible for some branded people, or it's only possible for certain individuals who are born on this planet just to get enlightened. No. Enlightenment is the birthright of every single individual, because you are already born with the enlightenment, the speck of enlightenment that's already, embedded within. It's already there. It's just a matter of you realizing it. That's all it is. So, but then there is a perception that enlightenment is not for you. And at the same time, enlightenment doesn't need to be, you don't have to realize your enlightenment in this lifetime, because there is no rush. There's no rush. You can experience, you can experience, you can continue to experience your life, in few other lifetimes, and then you can choose to get enlightened at that point. So there is no rush, because enlightenment happens only once. Only once. It doesn't happen in many lifetimes, normally, just only once. So technically there is no rush.
Yeah, because that is the reason we are here on the earth, to get all the experiences and to learn from it and enjoy the experience of the human life, right? That is why we are on this earth right now.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the last
everything.
few years after you're enlightened, that's what the soul wants to experience it, and therefore it wants to come.
Yes.
Into the human.
Yes. The other one, sir, when you're saying that enlightened person is around you, you don't want to be, that is so true. Like when Jesus says the 5-year-old, if we see the 5-year-old or like 1-year-old, or how
Exactly.
everybody receives the energies and we go into the different mode. But the same, if the adult acts or anybody acts the same way, people think that they are illusional or delusional, so that is what, but nobody can understand the inner feelings or why, that is beyond imagination, right, for anybody. That's so
Absolutely.
true. I was thinking exactly true, but
Yeah.
everybody says you have to become five, unless you become a child you can't enter into the kingdom of the God. That's what
Exactly.
Jesus says, but the implementation in the real world, it is very far beyond imagination for our situations. That's what I am thinking. Exactly why we are on this earth. Samsar mein nirvan. That's what Patrici says. So we are here experiencing and take no emotions. Like just be balanced with past. Like anything is happening around you with the present moment. Be there and enjoy the essence of that second. That's what I'm feeling, sir.
Right.
That is the enlightenment in my perspective.
Excellent. You said that very nicely, ma'am. That's for sure. Jesus said that unless and until you change and then become like a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. So what that means is unless you change, okay, for a simple change to happen in the human life, how long would it take? Okay, you have some perceptions, and for one perception to change in your life, how long would it take? It takes either a very highly impactful situation in your life, or it takes maybe 10, 20 years, to change a perception
Exactly.
on something. So what Jesus says is unless all of those perceptions are changed, or unless you change, means you change physically, maybe because he spoke in parables, it's difficult to understand his words, but unless your physical body and your mind and everything changes, and then you become like a child, only then you enter the kingdom of God. So that means before you enter the kingdom of God, you become like a child.
Mhm.
So, and the kingdom of God is only for those kind of people who have become like children. So, how do we become children? We become like children in enlightenment. When you get to that state, you become like a child. So a 50, 60, 70 years old person behaving like a 10-year-old kid, can you tolerate that? Just you don't want them, right, next to you.
Mental change, sir. That is only mentally change. Spiritually and mentally
No,
change.
it's not just mental, ma'am. It's just mental and physical both.
Physically, it's very difficult, no, sir. Like a child.
It's very, very difficult. Yes.
That's what I'm
yes,
telling.
Exactly. It is very, very, very difficult. At
Mentally,
least in the
spiritually, it's
beginning.
okay.
Yeah, at least in the beginning, it will be very difficult. That's the reason why these so-called enlightened masters go and sit in the ashrams. They don't do any work, they don't do a job or anything, because it's very highly difficult, because they lose their mind and they have no grip on their mind, so they cannot work. They just go and sit in the ashrams and just lead a peaceful life. That's
how it is, sir. But enlightened masters has to make others to be enlightened, no?
actually, that's the perception that you have on this.
Yeah.
It's not actually true. It's not actually true. Because with one enlightened master, with just one, okay, just one is okay. But if the entire planet has 1,000 enlightened masters, real enlightened masters, not the branded ones, real enlightened masters, this planet would evolve at a much higher rate, because of the light that is shined by the enlightened masters. It will shine the potentials, to be realized now, rather than otherwise it would have taken like years together. So this planet needs enlightened masters. This planet. But do they, I mean, see, enlightened masters, they don't go out and just make others enlightened, but they can answer some, they can maybe they can be there to show a way for others, but it's not their job, whatever. It's just depends.
If everybody's enlightened, and how the world will survive? Like
That is the reason
humanity.
why, that is the reason why out of these, how many billion people who have incarnated on this planet so far, billions of people, it keeps going. That is the reason why enlightenment, even though it is possible for every human to be enlightened, truly enlightenment is given only for very few. I mean, meaning to enlighten people who are enlightened in one lifetime is very few. Say, for example, in 100 years, you take 100 years, how many people do you think they're enlightened? See, out of all the billions of people who have incarnated on this planet so far, there are only about 9,000 or 10,000 enlightened masters. That's all it is. Why? Because even in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said that there are so many people who wants to reach me, but there's only 1 in lakhs who could reach me. Well, why is that? It's deliberately placed. The distractions and the seduction was deliberately placed on this path of your spirituality so that you don't get enlightened. Okay, now the challenge is, okay, I'm determined, I'm committed, and I will take up this challenge and I will go forth. So in that challenge, even when you're committed, even in those committed individuals, there will be only one who can really go, who can really reach the mile. But why? What does it take for the humans to get enlightened? What is the secret of enlightenment?
Faith.
Sorry?
Faith.
Faith.
Faith in God, and also belief that they can achieve. We take a strong decision, maybe.
Yeah. Commitment, dedication, decision, this is all
Those are
part of, yeah. I mean, see, if you want to realize enlightenment, or if you want to achieve something in your life, you have to have that faith and commitment and everything. That's part and parcel of just, achieving something, or realizing something. But what is really holding you back?
doubt.
Yeah, I mean, almost every human has that doubt within them that it's
they
a
do
common
it?
perception that it is
Right.
not for us. Yeah, that is there. But that is one of the things, that's holding you back. But yeah, it's not for me, so I just don't want to get into it.
Fear, sir? Fear of losing?
Spiritual అది ఆధ్యాత్మిక బద్ధకం, like you don't want to go there yet.
Yeah, you don't want to go there yet. Yeah. Yeah, some people say that, let me complete this project and then I will get enlightenment, or let me take care of my parents and then I will get enlightened, you see? Yeah. So basically, the primary reason why people don't get enlightened is they cannot accept themselves. That's the thing. They feel that they have guilt, shame, and remorse about the things that they've done in their life. So they cannot accept themselves. That is the
And
pressure.
also lack of discipline
Like,
could also be the
yeah, I mean,
reason.
you do need meditation and stuff, so that's once you get that, once you let go of, once you make a decision and commitment, that discipline comes. If you're really committed, the discipline comes. But but then primarily, you should be able to accept everything that you have ever done in your life without any exception. Can you do that? Can you do that? I'm asking each and every one of you. Can you do that? Can you accept yourself without any exception? Anything that you have ever done, whether it is good or bad or anything, of course, good, you accept, no problem. That's fine. But, some of the things that you perceive them as bad, you feel guilt about it, you feel shameful, and certain things you say, I could have not done that. I should have not done that. That's a deep remorse that you feel.
Sir, what is the best way to accept that part?
It's about understanding that everything happens for a reason. It's your soul that has manifested itself in your form, and you're doing things as per its design, as per this thing. So every experience that if it is a negative experience, you think you and the other person, whoever is involved in that experience, it has happened for a reason, and that's okay. So you guys played your role in it, and then you have learned your lesson, or perhaps the other person has learned a lesson, and you participated in it. So it's part and parcel of the game, but it's really not anything that is to be perceived as negative. So if you can
Okay.
accept yourself completely 100%, and then you do your meditation and practices and stuff. And
Sir,
hmm,
sorry, I have another question about the enlightenment.
mhm.
The universe is growing constantly, right? Like, so is there once you are enlightened, even if it is a slow process or at once, is there something more that then they need to realize after the enlightenment because of the way of the conscious is growing? Is there more updates that they're going to get, or once you enlighten, that's it forever?
Once you realize the enlightenment, there is really nothing for the person to learn. As the human, there is nothing to learn. It's about you experiencing this life with the divine together, with your soul together. What that means is that you also come out of the karmic cycle, the karma chakra, you call it as, right? You come out of it. That means you will no more accumulate the karma. All the karma that you accumulate, it'll get stored in your body in the form of density. So when you realize your enlightenment, you lose your density. When you lose your density, you also change the way that you are connected to Earth. So, and that's the reason why, people feel a lighter when they're walking, after you're enlightened. So the karma, you will not accumulate karma, but you can choose to experience karma also. Meaning, you can still do things, to experience it. Say, you can become angry to experience anger. And then you get a karma from that, but that will be resolved very instantly. If at all, it has to be resolved. It won't get accumulated like how it happens for normal humans.
Can you elaborate a little more, sir, on this?
Say, for example, let me give you an example, right? So say, for example, you are enlightened, and then at some point, you did something to the other person. You don't do it consciously, meaning you don't do it deliberately. You do it because it's the other person's destiny, and therefore you do it. And then if a karma has to happen, then it will be resolved pretty much on the same day or the next day. Means if you have to get a lesson from it because you are doing it and for the experience of it, you will get the lesson pretty immediately, means within the same day or next day. That's what it is. Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
there is another way of saying karma, a theory, right? Like, it's not just only after certain enlightenment, it's not just only giving and taking it back, but, just as you said, experiencing it, right? Maybe, somebody volunteered that what you wanted to experience. Now that we know all these things, what is the attitude that we need to keep, when we are doing things, whether the result is, for me or the other person, whether they like it or not, what kind of attitude when we are, generally we are supposed to keep towards it, towards
you mean
anything
after-
that is happening.
You mean
After happened or after result.
after enlightenment? After enlightenment?
I don't know. I am enlightened or not yet, right? I don't know. At this time, I'm not enlightened. But I know about the karma, and I know most of the time see, for example, I did something to you, it caused some hurt to you. I realized that I asked you, forgive me, but you forgive me. But whenever I see, I keep on asking you, or whenever I think of it, I kept on asking you forgiveness because I didn't accept myself that I did that mistake towards you, right? So until I accept it, my karma doesn't end, right? That's not my understanding. So what is the right attitude?
Okay. Even if you accept yourself, if you accept yourself, 100% it will be resolved. But humans don't accept themselves. That is the problem. That is the reason why in this state of you, right before entering into enlightenment, that forgiveness comes from your divine. You cannot forgive yourself, and therefore that forgiveness is coming from your soul. At that moment, before you enter into enlightenment, every single master who is enlightened would experience or has experienced this state. So it could be 1 year, 2 years, 20 years, or 30 years. You have to experience that before entering into enlightenment. every experience that you ever had, if there is if it is unresolved, there are still unresolved aspects. All of them have to be resolved for you to enter into enlightenment. So that resolution could take years together. It depends on your level of acceptance. If you accept all of it, it will get resolved pretty quickly, but sometimes we don't. So it takes prolonged time. So basically, those are the aspects that result from this guiltiness, guilt. There are three aspects, right? Guilt, shame, remorse. There are three of them. So anything, any situation or any incident that results in any of these three, and that you are not able to accept, would all come up into your landscape, mind's landscape, for you to resolve at that point. All that you have to do is just take a look at them and then let it go. See, but many humans, what they do is when these things are brought up, they will try to process them, analyze them, but they are being brought up for a release by your divine. They are brought up by your divine for you to release them from within you. So just accept and then release, accept and release. So it's a procession of these events, these aspects that comes into your mind's landscape before entering into realization.
So
Thank
once
you so much,
we,
sir.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah. So once we accept and let go,
That's it. That's it. If you process them, I'm telling you, if you try to process them, even God cannot save you.
So-
Normally human tendency is, when it comes, right, you go into it, you think about how it has happened. I could have done this way, they could have done this way, all that kind of nonsensical circle that you go on. Once you go on into that circle, you will be in that vicious circle forever. It's very difficult for you to come out. It's about you understanding the fact that they are coming into the surface. They're surfacing because they want to leave from you. They want to leave and go. They are being brought into your awareness so that you would accept them and release them. That's what it is. That is where the acceptance comes. That is the reason why for humans, it's very difficult to accept everything that has happened in their life. Accepting themselves, that's the reason.
so as a scenario, sir, I want to
Sure.
the acceptance part here.
Mm-hmm.
So someone, as an example, someone has said something, hurt me. Okay. I change my behavior certain way towards them. Then
Mhm.
later I realize that it's okay. It's something within them which is going on. That's it. We accept and let go. Do we have to go and associate with them, or we can just totally let go of that person itself?
That's a very good question. Very good question. Ma'am, the acceptance is about you accepting your own self within you. Whether your association with the other person, you want to keep it or not, is entirely up to you. It depends on, is there an energy feeding that is happening with that person or not? if there is an energy feeding that is happening with that person, then you can easily let them go. You can release them totally.
Hmm.
But if there is no energy feeding as such, then you can just that person can still be there, but it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I had this doubt since long that, okay, we realized, we forgave, we accept what is happening. Still, that do we need to keep that association with them? So that was confusing me till now. So
Yeah, so energy feeding, when I say energy feeding, you know what I mean by that, right? Energy feeding is like if they are trying to get your energy in some way, you should immediately let it go.
hmm,
If you lose money, you can earn it back. But if you lose your energy, you cannot.
hmm,
Some people can drain your energy, really. They can have their tentacles right into your energy field and then just get your energy. They also don't know that they are actually getting your energy. They have no idea. But they are used to that pattern of getting
yeah.
energy from other people in some way, either by just, there are many ways, right? Misbehaving or maybe trying to talk to you for a long time, expressing all of their grief, expressing, the bad times that they're going through and all this nonsense. It's a way of energy feeding, you see.
I have felt somebody staring into eyes. If you make the moment you make the eye to eye contact, the next moment I felt the drain of energy.
Yeah, yeah. So there are many ways people do that energy feeding. So yeah, you should immediately cut those energy feedings. Yeah, it's right.
Sir, I have one more question. What is this feeling that, sometimes I do feel that, whatever I see, I feel I am in them and they are in me. I don't see any difference. They I feel like we're all one kind of feeling.
Maybe
Especially it happened with the sceneries, like the mountains whenever I am at the mountain, I felt I had this feeling very promptly, like, every single the particle of that mountain is me. That's within me. The whole mountain is within me. At the same time, I am the part of the mountain. Like that, it's the one feeling.
maybe your perception, you are very open to receiving energies and highly compassionate. So yeah, highly compassionate. That's what comes to my mind. You're highly compassionate and then very open to receiving energies.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, I have a question, sir. Sir, earlier we were talking about the karma and how the energy feeding and all those things. So once we accept that and let it go, means that the karma, but do you think that once we, these are the, I mean, they are the basic things we grew up with, and the situations, they come into the mode of the situations or anything. But once we accept that and let it go, and do you think that are we going to face it later also? Because if we release only a little bit, the balance is going to be left, whatever it's going to come until we learn that lesson. But at the same time, in our spirituality, what we've been learning and taught is jnana, dhyanan, you get your karmas get diluted when you are doing the meditation, all right? Jnanagde dagda karmani means, so when we do more and more meditation and swadhyaya and sajjan sangatya, that's what basic rules. So when we do all these things, so do you think still we will be coming across those kind of situations and acceptance and all these will be there forever? Is it something different, or like as we grow in like slowly towards this, like we do more and more dhyan and all, the situations come gets lesser and lesser and lesser, like the situations, because we are learning and everything, the karma is going to burn out, that's what my question is.
Actually, with meditation, as you rightly said, jnana, whatever that
Yeah.
sentence is, your karma slowly gets dissolved, but it takes a long time for you to get your karma dissolved in meditation. Primarily because, see, for the dissolution of the karma, not total, but even for a little bit, it takes quite a bit of your meditative time. So you need to get that much amount of energy to get a little bit of karma resolved. So it takes a long time. And you can also do it like Ramana Maharshi way, like, you can combine both, the meditative practice and also self-inquiry. Self-inquiry, you don't need to really inquire the self, but you should be open to inquiring the self. If you are open to inquiring the self, so those things will come up into your awareness. So at that point, you can accept and release. So that can happen parallelly along with meditation. So both can be, if you combine both, it will be potent.
Yes. That means like situations are going to be lessen and lessen over the period of time, because we are accepting the situations, we know what it is behind it. So we are like, we are not getting stuck with the emotions, and we are not hurting ourselves that we have done, or this is what, or whatever it is. It's just we come into the mode of like, even if it is not at that moment, later after that moment, we realize, oh, these are the part of the play. This is all drama. I'm just an actor. Oh, that's okay. The situation happened. Whatever. That part will be growing more and more as we stick to all these three main basic principles. That's what, correct, sir?
Exactly. So not anymore, because you are coming into the end of cycles of your lifetimes on the planet. So it's about coming into the last things. It's not about experiencing the karma anymore, right? The repetition. So the more and more that you accept, the less and the less those situations will pop up. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
And 30.
Yeah. So I didn't realize it was at, I was thinking that it was 9 o'clock, it was 9 Central. The last minute I realized that it was 8 p.m. Central. I had to go pick up my daughter. So I was a little bit late, sorry, So,
No, it's absolutely fine, sir. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, I should say, enlightening for us to gain all this knowledge and how to be in that state, right? how to experience it, and how not to rush.
Yeah. There's no
Being-
rush at all whatsoever. Just
Yeah.
relax. Just relax
Yes.
into enlightenment. It'll happen anyway because, see, the sooner or later, the natural physics of consciousness will evolve and rebalance everything. So you will get enlightened. If not in this lifetime, next lifetime, no problem. So there's no rush. Yeah. Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Looking
Mhm.
forward to more sessions with you to gain more knowledge,
Yeah.
to understand. This is very deep to understand in a simple terms. And sometimes we experience certain things, but we don't know what are those. So it's good that someone can clarify us that this is what happening and this could be that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your knowledge. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining and listening to me
Jayprasad garu,
patiently. Yeah.
నేను
Oh.
మాట్లాడొచ్చా?
Sure, Andy. Yeah, please.
సో ఎన్లైటన్మెంట్ కు తొందర లేదు, ఏ జన్మలో అయినా తీసుకోవచ్చు. నేను తెలుగులో మాట్లాడుతున్నా.
Yes.
సో దేర్ ఇస్ నో హరీ.
There's
కానీ
no hurry.
బట్ ఒక ఆత్మ బాడీ వెకేట్ చేసి పైకి వెళ్ళిపోయినప్పుడు
Hmm.
తన కర్మలన్నీ తీర్చుకొని తను ఎంత తొందరగా ఎన్లైటన్మెంట్ సాధిస్తానా అని చెప్పేసి చాలా చాలా తొందరగా మళ్ళీ ఇంకో జన్మ తీసుకుంటది. ఏది జ్ఞానం లేని జన్మ ఏం చేస్తుంది అంటే ప్లానింగ్ లేకుండా టకటకాని ఏదో ఒకటి చేసేస్తుంది, ఏదో ఒక గర్భం దూరిపోతుంది. బట్ అదే మనము బాడీతో ఉన్నప్పుడు కొంత నాలెడ్జ్ ఉంటే అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తామంటే ఏ తల్లిదండ్రుల దగ్గర ఎక్కువ మనము ఎన్లైటన్ కాగలుగుతాం, దీన్ని స్పిరిచువల్ నాలెడ్జ్ పొందగలుగుతాము. ఆ ఫ్రెండ్స్, ఆ సర్కమ్స్టాన్సెస్ అన్ని ఏర్పరచుకుంటూ అది అప్పుడు అది 50 ఇయర్స్ కానీ 100 ఇయర్స్ కానీ ఆగి మరి అలాంటి ఫ్యామిలీలోకి వస్తుంది. వచ్చి ఒకేసారి అది 100 జన్మలలో ఒక జ్ఞానం లేని ఆత్మ వెంటనే దూరుతూ వెంటనే పుడుతూ చస్తూ పుడుతూ చస్తూ ఇట్లా చేస్తూ ఉన్నది 100 జన్మలలో సాధించలేనిది కానీ ఒక జన్మలోనే సాధించగలుగుతుంది ఆలోచించి చేసేటువంటి ఒక సోల్. ఆ తేడా మాత్రం ఎప్పుడూ ఉంటది అనమాట. అందుకే మనం ఈ బాడీతో ఉన్నప్పుడు, ఈ మైండ్తో ఉన్నప్పుడు మనము ఎన్ని ఆపర్చునిటీలు వస్తే అన్ని ఆపర్చునిటీస్ ఉపయోగించుకుంటూ ఎదుగుతూ ఎదుగుతూ అసెండ్ అవుతూ పోతూనే ఉండాలన్నమాట. దట్స్ వాట్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు డూ.
Yeah, that is why, enlightenment is also a choice.
Yes.
Meaning, see, at the same time, when I said, there's no rush, but if you are determined and you want to realize enlightenment in this lifetime, absolutely
Yeah.
make a choice,
That is our choice.
Yes,
That is our choice.
make a choice that you want to be enlightened, but the choice has to be so strong that it అంటే ఎంత స్ట్రాంగ్గా ఉండాలంటే ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టు resonate and resound within every part of your being that you are determined and
Every
committed.
cell within yourself.
Yes, should be committed.
తర్వాత
Yeah.
ఇంకొకళ్ళు మీతో మాట్లాడుతూ ఏమంటుందంటే ఐ డోంట్ నో నేను ఎన్లైటన్ అయినా లేదా అనేది నాకు తెలియదు కానీ అని చెప్పి క్వశ్చన్ రైజ్ చేసిండ్రు అనమాట. అంటే వాళ్ళ పేరు రాలే.
చూడలేదండి నేను.
అయితే వాళ్ళు క్వశ్చన్ రైజ్ చేసిండు మీకు, నేను అన్ని వింటూ ఉన్నా. అయితే ఎప్పుడు పత్రిజీ ఒకటే చెప్పేవారు, నువ్వు ఒక చిన్న పని సక్సెస్ఫుల్ గా చేస్తే అదే ఎన్లైటన్మెంట్. ఏదో టోటల్ గా 100% జ్ఞానం అంతా ఎంతో మంది స్పిరిచువల్ సైంటిస్టులు చెప్పేదంతా కూడా నేనే చెప్పగలిగినప్పుడు నాకు ఎన్లైట్మెంట్ కాదు. వాట్ ఎవర్ థింగ్స్ ఐ రియలైజ్డ్, వాట్ ఎవర్ థింగ్స్ ఐ అక్రాస్ త్రూ అవర్ లైఫ్, అదంతా కూడా నా ఎన్లైటన్మెంట్ అని చెప్తారు పత్రిక గారు. ఎవ్రీథింగ్. ఒక అశ్వాలను కడగడం నేర్చుకోవడానికే ఒక జన్మెత్తిండు బుద్ధుడు ఒకనొక లైఫ్ టైంలో. అది గడగడంకే ఆయన కర్తవ్యంగా పెట్టుకున్నాడు. అంటే మనకు ఒక గొడ్ల కాపరి ఉంటాడండి, వాడు చాలా అద్భుతంగా వాటికి మేత వేసుకుంటూ వాటిని అడవికి తీసుకుపోతూ వాటిని అంతా చేసుకుంటుంటే వాడు ఒక స్పిరిచువల్ మాస్టర్ కావచ్చు, వాడేం లేమ్యాన్ కాకపోవచ్చు, బట్ ఒక లైఫ్ టైంలో నాకు ఇది కావాలని రావచ్చుట.
See, that is the reason why I don't feel like using the word enlightenment. You know, enlightenment could be used very loosely for many things, but the
Yes.
best word to use is realization. Realization of the self. That's what it is. Enlightenment could be used very loosely, you know, for many, many different things.
ఎస్
Yeah.
అంటే సార్ ఒక స్పిరిచువల్ నాలెడ్జ్ అనే కాదు సార్, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద థింగ్స్, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద నాలెడ్జ్,
Mm.
ఏది తెలుసుకున్నా అది ఒక రియలైజేషనే కదా సార్.
See, realization of knowledge is different from realization of self, because what you realize from realizing the self is your wisdom. It's not knowledge. So there is a difference and distinction between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is what you read from books, what you hear from other people, what you stuff. But wisdom is something that you experience within yourself, by yourself.
ఐ యాక్సెప్ట్ దట్. కానీ ఒక మాట ఏమంటుందంటే, ఎప్పుడైతే స్పిరిచువల్ గా కోర్ నుంచి మనము అచీవ్ చేస్తూ వస్తామో, వరల్డ్లీ మ్యాటర్స్ లో కూడా క్విక్ డెసిషన్స్ తీసుకుంటాం, రైట్ డెసిషన్స్ తీసుకుంటాం. అదంతా కూడా బికాస్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ ఆ సెల్ఫ్ గా డెవలప్ అవడం వల్లనే ఆ రకంగా జరుగుతుంటది. సిచ్యుయేషన్స్ అన్ని కూడా మారిపోతుంటాయి వరల్డ్లీ మ్యాటర్స్ లో, మన రిలేషన్షిప్స్ లో.
No, that
అది
is
నేను ప్రగాఢంగా నమ్ముతాను.
okay. That is, see, when situations changes, those are, you know, when the situations are becoming better, you know, so those are not related to realizing the self. I mean, realizing the self is different from how you are making your life better, a little better.
Sir, realizing the self is not a different thing between the worldly matters, sir. మనకు రెండు ప్రాపంచికం, ఆధ్యాత్మికం అంటూ కలగలిపే ఉంటది. అది అంటే సోల్ గురించి చెప్తేనే, వేరే లైఫ్ ఆఫ్టర్ డెప్త్ గురించి చెప్తేనే, అదర్ మన డైమెన్షన్స్ గురించి చెప్తేనే ఎన్లైటన్మెంట్ కాదు సార్. నేను అట్లా అనుకుంటున్నాను.
Let me tell you one thing very clearly. Once
Tell
you
me.
realize yourself, you also realize what you have learned is not complete. I don't say that what you have learned is useless. What I am saying is what you have learned is not complete. That's
Yeah.
what you'll realize after realizing yourself. So in that half-baked knowledge, you know, you can keep delving into that, but the reality and the fact, once you realize your soul or self, is that it's all, you just participated in your life, what you have done, good or bad, whatever it is. That's all you realize. You know, you realize that, oh, some of these concepts that held on, that me held on so strong to those concepts really doesn't make any sense to me now. That's what you realize in self-realization. Now, what you're saying to me is that you know, a theoretical understanding and a success, you're attributing that to a self-realization. No, self-realization is something different. Self-realization is realizing of your divinity that has never been on earth before. So I'm talking something different than what you must have understood, your concepts in spirituality. It is totally different. See, I'm not talking from the perspective of the knowledge. I'm talking from my wisdom. Otherwise, you don't hear these words from others.
అంటే మన కోర్ లోకి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు, మనం ఒక డివైన్ బీయింగ్ అని మనం తెలుసుకున్నప్పుడు, టోటల్ గా ఆ నాలెడ్జ్ పొందినప్పుడే ఆ ఎన్లైటన్మెంట్ అనేది ఉంటుంది అనేది మీరు అంటున్నారు. ఓకే, నేను ఒక డివైన్ బీయింగ్ అని తెలుసుకున్నవాడు ఇతరులు కూడా దే ఆర్ ఆల్సో ఏ డివైన్ బీయింగ్ అని రెస్పెక్ట్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తారు. ఎవరిని కూడా ఇల్ ట్రీట్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేయరు ఆ కోర్ ఎసెన్స్ లోకి వెళ్ళిన వాళ్ళు. మరి అది వరల్డ్లీ మ్యాటర్ లోకే వస్తారు. ఒకళ్ళను జడ్జ్ చేయడం కానీ, ఒకళ్ళను హ్యూమిలియేట్ చేయడం కానీ ఒక స్పిరిచువల్ పర్సన్ చేయలేడు. ఏమనుకుంటాడంటే స్పిరిచువల్ పర్సన్, ఒక మాట జయప్రసాద్ గారు, ఒక స్పిరిచువల్ పర్సన్ ఏమనుకుంటాడంటే ఒక వ్యక్తి చేస్తూ ఉన్నాడు ఏదో, జడ్జ్ చేయడం కంటే ఎక్కువ వాడిని ఏమనుకుంటాడంటే వాడి ఆత్మ ఎదుగుదల అంతే, వాడి నాలెడ్జ్ అంతే, ఇట్స్ ఓకే, హీ కేమ్ టు దిస్ వరల్డ్ టు లెర్న్ ఆల్ దోస్ థింగ్స్ అని చెప్పేసి వాళ్ళు అనుకుంటారు. అంటే ఈ రకంగా చాలా మంది వరల్డ్ లో ఉన్నటువంటి 100 మెంబర్స్ ఉన్నారనుకుంటే, కొన్ని 100 crores ఉన్నారనుకుంటే 700 crores ఈ రకంగా సామరస్యంతో ఉంటే ఇంకా ఆర్మీకి వాటికి వెపన్స్ కి ఇంతింత మనము ఖర్చు చేయక్కర్లే, శాంతి ఆటోమేటిక్గా వస్తుంది. అందుకే స్పిరిచువల్ మాస్టర్స్ అంతా కూడా ఎన్లైటన్ అవ్వండి, ధ్యానం చేయండి, యాసెండ్ అవ్వండి, ఇది మనకెందుకు నక్షత్ర మిత్రుల నుంచి ఆ రోజు నుంచి ఎందుకు బోధిస్తున్నాం అంటే వరల్డ్ లో హింస పెరిగిపోయింది, అహింస తక్కువైంది కదా సార్. ఇప్పుడు ఒక ఎన్లైటెడ్ పర్సన్ హింసించలేడు కదా, హింస అనేది వరల్డ్ మ్యాటరే కదా. అట్లా నేను ఆ ఆస్పెక్ట్ లో చెప్పాను సార్. ఒక కత్తి ఉంది, పళ్ళు కోసుకోవడానికి ఉపయోగపడుతుంది, మనిషిని చంపడానికి ఉపయోగపడుతుంది. సో వీడు దేనికి యూజ్ చేయాలనో రైట్ వేలో యూజ్ చేస్తాడు. ఒక రియలైజ్ పర్సన్, ఒక స్పిరిచువల్ పర్సన్, ఒక విజ్డమ్ ఉన్న పర్సన్, మీ పర్స్పెక్టివ్ లోనే తీసుకుంటే విజ్డమ్ ఉన్న పర్సన్. సో దట్స్ వాట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్. ఎందుకంటే ఒక అమ్మాయి నేను ఇంకా ఎన్లైటన్ అయినో కాలేదో తెలియదంటే, నువ్వు ఈ క్లాస్కి వచ్చి జయప్రసాద్ గారిది వింటున్నారు, ఈ సెషన్ లో పాల్గొంటున్నారంటే మీరు ఎంతో ఎసెండ్ అయితేనే జరుగుద్ది, లేకపోతే ఎక్కడో భజనలు చేసుకుంటూ కూర్చుంటాం. ఇంకా మనం లోగా వెళ్తే ఆ భజనలు కూడా కాదు, నేను నమ్మిందే ఇది అని చెప్పేసి వితండవాదాలు చేసుకుంటూ కూర్చుంటారు. ఆ వితండవాదాలు చేసిన వాళ్ళకంటే భజనలు చేసిన వాళ్ళు, పూజలు చేసే వాళ్ళు బెటర్. దానికంటే ఇంకా వాళ్ళకు వాళ్ళే ఏదో ఒకటి కళ్ళు మూసుకొని కూర్చునే వాళ్ళు బెటర్. దానికంటే ఒక స్పిరిచువల్, ఒక సత్సంగం, ఇది ఒక ఎన్లైటన్మెంట్ దిశగా జరిగేటువంటి ఈ సత్సంగంలో ఒక అమ్మాయి అడుగు పెట్టిందంటేనే షీ ఎన్లైటెండ్ నా దృష్టిలో. ఎందుకంటే పత్రికారిది అడుగడుగున నేను వంట పట్టించుకున్నాను కాబట్టి, అడుగడుగున ఆయన మాటలు విన్నాను కాబట్టి ఈ రకంగా ఇంత ధైర్యంగా చెప్పగలుగుతున్నాను. ఎందుకంటే ఎవరికి వాళ్ళు నేను తక్కువ అనే భావనలోకి రానే వద్దు.
Absolutely, Andy. That's what I told also. Everybody is packaged with enlightenment.
Yes.
So you see, in this evolution of soul, we keep doing things and keep learning from things, how to do, what to do, and so on and so forth. So at every moment, if I have to use the word enlightenment, every moment, anything successful I have done, anything that I have learned successfully, I am enlightened, right? From the perspective of, that enlightenment word. But my point here is, all these enlightenments are the basis for self-realization.
Yes.
So self-realization happens through these little enlightenments that you get in your life.
Yes.
See, this is the very reason why I also mentioned in the beginning that many of the New Age groups don't talk about self-realization. They talk about enlightenment, yeah, theoretically, yes, but self-realization is different from these enlightenments. Again, point blank, self-realization is different from these small enlightenments. Sorry to say that I'm speaking from my wisdom and experience.
No. We accept that. Self-realization, you are telling that the core within you,
Yes.
you realize
Yes.
the entire thing, the essence of the divine thing, that is called as the self-realization you are telling.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
I got it.
Yes, ma'am.
కానీ ఎవరికి వాళ్ళు తక్కువ చేసుకున్నప్పుడు అది నాకు బాధ అనిపిస్తుంది.
No, not at all. Not at all. I clearly said also.
Not about
No.
you. Not
Yeah,
about you.
yeah, not at all.
Who asked you the question?
Every human being is equal. Is
Yes.
equal. Every human has got the 24 hours of time, all the opportunities and everything. I mean, there is no
ఒక మాట దేవేంద్ర గారు,
person.
మీరు ఒక స్పిరిచువల్ గా ఎన్లైటెన్ ఇదిలో ఉండబట్టి మీరు వెంటనే దాన్ని సామరస్యంగా ఎవ్రీథింగ్ యూ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ అబౌట్ ద సెల్ఫ్ రియలైజేషన్, విజ్డమ్, ఎన్లైటన్మెంట్, ఎవ్రీథింగ్. బట్ ఇదే అమ్మాయి ఒక గురువు దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి సార్ నేను అదే గురువు గారు నేను ఈ రకంగా చాలా ఇదిలో ఉన్నాను అని చెప్పింది అనుకోండి, వాళ్ళు పాదాలు కడగమంటారు, లేకపోతే మీరు ఇంకా ఈ జన్మలు కాదు ఇంకో ఇంకో 100 జన్మలు పడతాయమ్మా నువ్వు మా స్థితికి రావాలా అంటే చెప్తారు. అంటే స్లేవరీ స్టార్ట్ అయింది అనమాట.
Exactly. See, this is, I mean, Bale చెప్పారండి. See, this is what it is. There is no one person who is entitled for realization in this planet. No, it's there for everybody. Yeah, nobody is less or more. In fact, if I have to tell you, let's take Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. ఏముంది, నేను చదువు లేదు, సంధ్య లేదు, పామరుడు. ఆయన ఎలా రియలైజేషన్ లోకి వెళ్ళాడు? ఆయన
మాతా అమృతానందం.
Yeah. All these people, how did they realize themselves? Because it's all here. ఇక్కడ మనం చేసుకోవాల్సిన వర్క్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది. It's not outside. It's not in books. It's not in books. I'm telling you, it is not in books. Look at Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. ఏం బుక్స్ చదివాడు ఆయన? Nothing. ఆయనకు చదివే రాదు. But how did he realize himself? Because the work has to be done here, not outside. Outside ఏమి లేదు మీకు. Outside only gives you experience. But the work that you need to do is here.
Experience and exposure outside the things.
అది.
It's a really amazing and wonderful session, sir, with you. మీకు అమెరికా మొత్తం కూడా మీ సెషన్స్ జరగాలని నేను కోరుకుంటున్నాను.
Thank you, ma'am.
ఎందుకంటే జాన్ అమెరికా అనేది మన ప్రాజెక్ట్ కనుక. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ మై డియర్ హోస్ట్.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a good night, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you.